I understand that when we sit there on a football Sunday, we have our rooting interests. And maybe our rooting interests are because we bet a certain team. Maybe our rooting interest is because we like certain players more than others. Our rooting interest sometimes is for a myriad of different reasons. But when you don't get what you want, you don't have to cry about it. Mm-hmm. You don't have to whine about it. You don't have to bitch about it. You don't have to threaten to, I'm not going to watch the Super Bowl anymore. And that is what I've heard. And I'm not going to say it's just from Buffalo Bill fans. I'll put you guys aside. I think it's from the Americans that are just sick of the Kansas City Chiefs. And you have every right to be. I'm not going to tell you who to root for. We'll root against the Kansas City Chiefs for all I care. For whatever dopey reason you have.
Right.
Whether it's Taylor Swift or Patrick Mahomes or Andy Reid and his Nuggies, whatever the reason is.
Right. Then you just have to realize you're rooting for the Philadelphia Eagles.
Well, that's the Super Bowl, and that's a decision each individual has to make. But yesterday on Sunday, the Chiefs beat the Buffalo Bills. That's it. And you want to go through the whys? There's a lot of whys. But I'll give you the ultimate why. The ball was in the hands of Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills with 3.5 minutes to go, down by 3. Now, there's a lot of stuff that got us there. Mm-hmm. I admit it. A lot of close calls that got us there. A lot of big-time plays that got us there. But the bottom line is Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills had the ball in their hands with 3.5 minutes to go. And I sat there during a commercial break, and I said to myself, boy, if Josh Allen is this great, he has a chance to win this game and never, ever give the football back to the great Patrick Mahomes. Go on a sustained drive, punch it in at the end, Buffalo wins. You also have the opportunity, dare I say, to milk that clock out and kick a game-tying field goal. And with the new Josh Allen-led overtime rules, the Buffalo Bill-proof rules, you'd have a fair shot. Maybe you win, maybe you don't. And instead, and I'm not telling you this is all on Josh Allen because it's not. Josh Allen made an incredible play on 4th and 5 after Steve Spagnuolo, the greatest defensive coordinator in the history of football, sent a corner blitz?
Corner blitz and a safety backup.
Not bad, right?
It was epic.
It was epic. But still, Josh Allen, to his credit, made an incredible play, got it off to Dalton Kincaid, and he dropped it. You can come up with all different things from this drive. Like, I'll give you one. Why is the ball in Ty Johnson's hands to start that drive off?
Yeah.
The bottom line is this. We'll talk about the penalties. You can call up and whine and bitch like a baby. That's totally fine. Everybody has a right. It's a conspiracy theory. You can say whatever you want. The Bills lost. And they lost because with the ball in the hands of the future Hall of Fame quarterback, they failed. Not just on Josh, they all failed. So instead of whining about that was a first down or that wasn't a catch or every little call that America wants to bitch about because they didn't get their way. And when we don't get our way, it must have not been real. It must have been rigged. It wasn't rigged. You lost. That's it. And it pisses me off. I'm not a Chief fan. I'm not like loving Andy Reid and Pat Mahomes. I may have been rooting for them, but this is no bias. This is independent views. And if you call up today or you go on Twitter and you whine and you complain and you make up conspiracy theories, you're just a baby. You're a baby that can't accept that your side lost. It's like politics. You're a loser. You lost. Get over it. Unlike politics, you got to wait 4 years in a presidential election. You don't have to wait 4 years. Come back next year, and maybe you'll try your hand at Andy Reid and Pat Mahomes. Spoiler alert, you'll lose again. But at least you'll try. So I just wanted to get that off my chest.
Yeah,
all these
I can
losers
tell. It's
out
just
there.
bothering you.
Well, they're crying, bro.
Well, I mean, people will cry because they don't respect what Andy Reid and this Chiefs team, I was going to say offense or defense or either one, what this team has built and how they've built it. Because they are perfectly suited and built for these moments, right? They're built this way because of their head coach. They're built this way because Matt Nagy's been around this head coach, took his time as the head coach of the Bears and failed and came back. But he's been here and in the system for a long time. Steve Spagnuolo's been in the system for a while now, and he's one of the best that's ever done it. And so when you look at how they're constructed, and I'm not just talking player-wise, because they do have some really great players. Chris Jones on the defensive side of the ball. We all know Pat Mahomes and what what's his name? Worthy's going to be on the offensive side of the ball. Forget all of that. It's the whole picture. They are built for these moments. And so we shouldn't be surprised when in these moments they're kind of perfect, right? Now, we look at some of these other teams, they're not quite perfect in these moments. The Buffalo Bills might be the prime example. When you have a third or fourth and short multiple times in this game, and you can't get it because you go back and think you're the Philadelphia Eagles and can run off tackle left with the quarterback over and over and over again. Eventually, teams will figure that out if you're not the Philadelphia Eagles, which nobody can figure out. But I put this more on the Bills than I do on the Chiefs getting favorable calls. To me, this was the Chiefs being better. And it came down to moments in games when the Chiefs made the plays and the Bills did not.
You hit on it. So let's just address it since people are still crying about it. You mentioned the 4th and 1 from the 41-yard line that everyone is just crying about like it's a travesty. Let's go back to what you just said. If you're that great and you're the Buffalo Bills, you leave no doubt.
Right.
On 4th and 1, you call a tush push with Josh Allen, like you said, and I couldn't agree with you more, thinking you're the Philadelphia Eagles when you're not.
The tush push.
Was it a first down or not? I'll be honest with you. Watching the game at home, I thought he was short. Now, did I see that you have two linesmen?
Right.
One is saying he made it. One is saying he's short. I saw it just like we all did.
You have, I forget what side the sticks were on, but the stick side is the down judge.
Right.
And then the line judge coming from the other side. I've learned calling games that as soon as a play is stopped, momentum is stopped, you look at the down judge. Right? Or look at the line judge, whichever side it's on. If it's on the left side of the ball, you look at that guy on that side. If it's on the right side, look at the guy on that side. I looked at both of them because I was home and at TV and saw it on TV. They were 1.5 yards apart from one another.
Right.
And so
now, why did that happen?
Human error. Simple as that.
Or it's very difficult to see when there's a pile of giant men crushing each other where the nose of the ball is.
Right.
It's a tough call to make.
I 100% agree.
That's the thing that drives me nuts. It's a tough call to make.
No, this is what. So, as an aside, let's pause for a second. Take a 30-second time out here. This is why the football, which I think is already chipped, needs to be chipped. Make it without doubt.
Agree.
Make it so that you can't screw it up, line judge or down judge.
Agreed.
Make it the ball has a chip in it. It knows exactly where it stopped. And that's relative to the first down marker. We will know without having to get in a discussion or go into replay because the spot was under review.
Because the reality is this was such a close play that depending on the side you're on, that's going to be your opinion.
Right.
So if you hate the Kansas City Chiefs, you're going to say, see, it's rigged.
Right.
The officials, blah, blah, blah. I'll be the first to tell you, that call could have gone either way. If they ruled it a first down, and once they went to review, they were going to keep whatever was called on the field. And I think most people should accept that. So once they said he was short and they go to replay review, there's no way they're overturning it because there's no evidence to do either. There's no evidence to overturn anything. But when a play is that close, I wasn't going to complain whichever way it went. And yet, and I think it's because it was in people's heads the last few weeks. Well, the Chiefs get every call. The Chiefs get every call. They're conveniently leaving out that over the course of a football game, there's a lot of calls that could go either way.
Right.
And there were in this game. There were a few calls that did not go Kansas City's way. The false start that could have been a neutral zone infraction. The face mask that wasn't called. I'm just telling you, it's football. And there are going to be calls that don't go your way. That call, which everyone's going nuts about, was a very tough call to make.
Yeah, it was.
And no matter which way it went, I would have said, it could go either way. But even with it going against Buffalo, once that happens, once that call happens, do they have to allow the Kansas City Chiefs to march down the field and score a touchdown? Is that a part of the rules?
No.
Once the call doesn't go your way, your defense could step up and force a 3 and out like it did a drive earlier. It didn't. And again, when the ball's in Josh Allen's hands down by 3 with 3.5 minutes to go, and at the bare minimum you can't tie the game, that to me is the reason you lost. That's the reason. That was a 50-50 call early fourth quarter that, if we're all being intellectually honest, could have gone either way.
Yeah.
And because, I saw two officials. One said it was short. One said it was long. Conspiracy. It must be a conspiracy.
No, it's not.
It's not.
It's just it's either human error or the prime example of why they need more technology in this game.
I agree.
It's as simple as that. And it really is not complicated.
But yet, the whining and the complaining because you didn't get what you wanted. You didn't get what you wanted. And I listened in to Buffalo Sports Talk Radio. Believe it or not, they're not whining and bitching the way the rest of America is.
Oh, interesting.
You know what they're doing? They're criticizing people.
Criticizing their team?
They're criticizing the play calling. Totally fair game. Saying, hey, James Cook's pretty good. Maybe we should get the ball in his hands a little bit more. They're criticizing the head coach. Nothing to do with any of his past comments, just his coaching. And dare I say they're criticizing the golden child himself, Josh Allen. Like, they're criticizing their team for losing their game. And yet other people in this great country are deciding to cry and blame the officials and say, see, there's a conspiracy. I'm sick of the Chiefs, blah, blah, blah. Beat the Chiefs. You're so sick of them, beat them. And to this moment, no one has. Will the Eagles? We'll find out. We'll talk about it over the next 2 weeks. But no one has. And certainly Josh Allen hasn't. And certainly Sean McDermott hasn't.
Yeah, I think some of this is because the Bills fan probably feeling like this was one of their best opportunities, because eventually, guys age out, team changes, and talking about with the Bills, how many more chances at this are they going to get?
I get it.
And they feel blocked. They feel like they have one of the best quarterbacks, one of the best coaches, et cetera, but they're blocked by the Kansas City Chiefs, and there's nothing they can do about it.
Yeah.
It seems like it gets to the same spot every time, and the same thing happens.
They got one option: petition the league to move to the NFC. That's what you got.
Right.
Because you can't get past them, and this is part of sports, man. This is what Knicks fans felt like in the 90s. They can't get by the juggernaut. Go beat them. Instead of crying about the officials, go beat them.
Yeah.
Let's go to Gio in Howell, New Jersey. How are you, Gio?
I'm good, man. And I was very neutral watching that game. Just, we got a great game out of it. But I tell you what, man, listen to you talk. You got to put it all on Josh Allen for one reason, man. He played that entire game different than he played the entire year. He started the game with, like, two throws that should have been picked off right away. And then,
100%.
And then there was a bunch, right, and there was a couple. So outside of that last throw to Kincaid, which is like, hey, fourth and whatever, you got to throw one up, prayer, right? There was a couple throws in that game that was like, dude, what are you doing? Yeah. And even with the tush push, they got to be the only team in the NFL, I promise you. They got to be the only team in the NFL with a quarterback his size. You can't convert a fourth in less than a yard.
How do you explain that one? Great call, Gio. How do you explain the fact that you've got this monster, this Adonis and Josh Allen, and yet they stink at these fourth and shorts? And they continue to run them.
It's an execution thing. It's a drive from the offensive line. They don't do it the same as the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles get everybody in like 4-point stances, and they all work together. It's not an individual blocking an individual. It's a front five, really seven, because they throw the tight ends in there as well, blocking like at an angle, right? So they create this like this spear that goes through the front of a defensive front, and so they can get through no matter when they do it. Whereas the Bills do it kind of like, all right, you block that guy, you block this guy, you block this guy, and just be better than him. What happens if that's Chris Jones across from you?
Right.
And Chris Jones, I don't care who you put on him, is better than that guy.
Yeah.
And so you get stalemated at the point of attack.
They had a moment in that touchdown drive that put them up 22-21. They had a 3rd and 3. They tried a little keeper with Josh Allen. He was short. On 3rd and goal from the 1, they tried a keeper. He was short. It didn't work until they pitched it out to James Cook. This was something that wasn't working.
Right.
And so on that pivotal moment, that pivotal play, and of course it was a big play in the game, they tried the same damn thing.
Yep.
And it didn't work. We'll come back with more of your calls. Plus, I will play something for you that, to me, lathered up the masses into believing in conspiracies. 888-808-1019. Evan and Tiki, you're on the Fan.